Durdle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Durdle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and Durdle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Durdle Magic. Today we're playing some more Obeka Brute Chronologist. Looking at our opening hand, 3 lands but only 1 color, none of it black. That's a mulligan. New hand, so we got 2 recursion removal and lands including filtering for blue. Yeah, I think we could keep this one. So our commander, Obeka, 1 blue, black, red for legendary 3/4 Ogre Wizard. Tap target players whose turn is may end the turn. So remember, that's a may, and no one else has to agree with you. It's more useful for keeping your triggers on check, especially if you have sacrifice at end of turn triggers. It's also really good to cancel out Eldrazi reshuffle triggers if you're trying to mill people, which we are in the stack. Our first opponent, Nethroi, Apex of Death. 2 white, black, green for legendary 5/5 Cat Nightmare Beast. Death Touch and Lifelink. Whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Very good card in Kolfener. If you haven't checked out those videos, go check them out. Its mutate cost is 4 Selesnya black, black. When you cast this, it mutates over or under target non-human creature you own. Then the mutate creature has all the abilities of everything beneath it plus its own. Temple of Silence into play for that player. So to clarify for mutate, if it mutated onto a Death Touch, Lifelink, or Flyer, it would then also get the flying no matter which creature was on top. But it would also have the base stats of only the top creature. So it's only the keywords and abilities in that text box that matter. Our second opponent, Grismold the Dreadsower. I've faced these before. They are always surprisingly one note, but surprisingly resilient. Don't underestimate a Grismold. So 1 black green, 3/3, Troll Shaman, legendary of course. Trample at the beginning of your end step, each player creates a 1/1 plant creature token. Whenever a creature token dies, put a 1/1 counter on Grismold the Dreadsower. Snow-covered Forest and Elves of Deep Shadow into play. Snow-covered lands coming back, and I do like them a lot more than these full art ones. I always thought they were a little bit bleh. Evolving Wilds into play for our last opponent, they crack it. And it's Mazirek Crawl Death Priest. Did I miss the Golgari recruitment convention? 3 black green for legendary 2/2 Insect Shaman flying. Whenever a player sacrifices another permanent, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Our turn gives us Altar of Dementia. I was just thinking if we draw this, it'd be hilarious. It's kind of hilarious. Let's play a mountain and pass it off to our opponents. So we have sack, make your guys bigger. Something that probably sacks to make their 1 commander bigger. And something that sacks to fill the graveyard, and then we're playing mill and wheels. How do I keep walking into these bad alleys? Farseeka and Nethroi coming down to the stack. They'll go get a technical not Forest. I don't know, just terrible luck I suppose. What was our last game with Verena and Hana? Although that actually kind of worked out in the end. That's Indatha into play. Over to the Grismold. Hey, Snow-covered Swamp into play. We got some mana tapping. It's the Grismold. Hey, free plant tokens is nice until, they die. End of turn, Grismold will trigger, and I'll stop saying that till it's destroyed or removed. We know it's going to give us the off-center arted plants, apparently. I was thinking of also putting like sneak attack effects into Obeka, but it was really getting to be too much, although I did add Ilharg. We'll see how that goes. It's not my favorite, but again, we'll see how it goes. Over to Mazirek, that's another land in play. Reassembling Skeleton, that's good sacrifice fodder. Comes our turn, we get a Rumi of the Dread Tide. Sorry, the Dead Tide. I much prefer it to be the Dread Tide, so I just kind of say it automatically. Let's play a Swamp. And what do we want to do? Do we want to do Altar of Dementia? I don't think we do right now. Let's just pass it off. Keep the plant up for defense. And let's draw something else first. Maybe wait for Obeka and the Noxious Gearhawk to come down first. I think that's the plan. 2 Nethroi, planes into play. Mana tapping. 3 visits, more ramp. They'll go get another forest card. Notably, if you didn't see my posts on Twitter or Facebook, or if you didn't catch the streams yet, or the follow-up like reveal talk about it kind of thing from Wizards, not only are there new snow basic lands, there's also new dual snow basic lands with the 2 land types. They do come into play tapped, so there is a drawback. But I'm very excited for those, and something like 3 visits can go get those. So not only that, they're also at common. They're in the common slot. Arcane Signet coming down for the Nethroi player. Over to Grismold. Starting to think that Snow Archelos would be a pretty interesting build in paper right about now. We have a Horror Owl Grismold sacrificing a swamp after playing a swamp. They'll go get 2 basic lands to the battlefield. A regular forest and a snow-covered swamp into play. Skull Clamp coming down. That's a good way to kill 1/1 plant creature tokens. To the plant, to the bin. They get to draw 2 cards and Grismold gets larger. Skull Clamp to Grismold. It does have trample. It is now a 5/3. Grismold on the attack, off into us. I don't know why our face is always so punchable. This is gonna hurt. We will not block. We take 5 down to 35, up to 5 commander. That hurts. And a turn, plant token. Mazirek's turn, starting off with a Winding Constrictor. That'll be good if they can start going wide enough. Plant should help with that, but Grismold is a very fast deck, or at least it can be, and we already did take the 5. So there are problems to be had there. To our turn, we get a Swamp. Would prefer a basic island at some point, but we'll see how things go. Let's get down a mountain and get down Felden, just so we can have some extra blocking power. Not necessarily to reanimate anything. And we'll pass it off. Over to Nethroi. 5 cards in hand after the draw. Only 2 plant tokens down. So far, nothing in the graveyard really to reanimate. And they haven't cast anything yet. Besides the land search and the arcane signet. So no creatures, basically. Interested to see what they'll be playing. Eternal Witness coming down. They're going to go for some more ramp, looks like. Let's see which one they'll get back. One gets a forest. One gets a technically not forest. It is Farseek. Farseek back to the stack. Let's see what they get this time. Overgrown Tomb into play. It is tapped. Over to Grismold. Snowcovered Land into play, but of course, and Pious Plunderer coming down. Uh-oh. That's a combo-tastic card. Skull Clamp to the plant. It's going to die. They'll get a treasure. All that jazz. All the synergy. Let's see what happens. Lightning Greaves coming down for Grismold. That sucks. I really wanted to use the Gearhulk on that. Oh well. Grismold on the attack again. Off into us again. Okay. We'll just take 5 more for now. Alright, we take 5 down to 30, up to 10 commander. 2 Mazirek, Dawn Treader, Elk coming down. Sack it, get a basic land, basically. You have to pay green, but it's good for their commander. Looks like they're gonna need it too. Turn 4, only 2 lands in play. Comes our turn, we get Mages of the Wheel. That could be good. We do have some recursion available. Interesting. Let's go ahead and play Sunken Ruin. And then let's go ahead and play Obeka. Filter for the blue and black. Tap Dose Red, and cast. Obeka to the battlefield. And we'll pass the turn yet again. Hopefully Grismold will lay off us a little bit. The trample really doesn't help when we have nothing able to really chump in play. So, yeah, we're in some dire straits on that regard. I was really hoping to use the Gearhulk on him, like I said. Over to Nethroi, let's see what they do with their turn. Fiend Artisan coming down for them. I forget why I didn't put that in Colfiner. I think at the time I looked, it was still more expensive than I wanted to put into the deck for the deck list. But if you have Fiend Artisan, it's pretty good if you're going to need to sacrifice stuff. Over to Grismold, 5 cards in hand after the draw. Skull Clamp doing a lot of work, as it always does. Let's see what they do with this turn. Skull Clamp to a plant. They'll draw some more cards and get treasure. Grismold will also get bigger. Yay. On the bright side, we now have enough creatures to take out Grismold if they attack us, assuming no shenanigans. Gaze of Granite. That's a shenanigan. So it will get rid of all of the plants. Grismold will get absolutely huge. Totally forgot. Converted mana cost. Tokens are 0. Grismold is a 15/15. That's a lot of damage. Death Reap Ritual. Morbid at the beginning of each end step. If a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. Grismold to the attack. I expect it to be S. Is it? Oh, it's not. It's into Nethroi. That's interesting. Nethroi takes it down to 25, up to 15 commander. That's a lot of damage. We get a plant. I'd wish they'd go away now. Over to Mazirek, still hasn't dropped a third land. They do have Drawn Trader Elk to go get one. 6 cards in hand after the draw. Hopefully they have something. Drawn Trader Elk gets the crack. They're going to get a basic land card to the battlefield tapped. Rupture Spire into play from their hand. Have to pay 1 or they have to sacrifice it. Death Reap Ritual will trigger at the end step for Grismold. They'll draw a card. Dawn Trader Elk was the thing that died. To our turn, we get Court of Cunning. That's too bad. That's a card I very much wanted to try out. But I think if we put it down now, we get the card draw at end of turn. But we just won't have anything to protect us from getting the Monarch 1 taken from us and 2 from Grismold killing us. So that's really unfortunate. Let's play a Swamp. Alright, let's play a Rumi of the Dead Tide. And then we'll try and play an Altar of Dementia otherwise. Altar of Dementia to the stack. Let's get to the battlefield. Pass off the turn. We will survive at least one more attack so far, but it's not looking very good for us at all. Reclamation Sage coming down for Nethroi. Hit the Greaves. Hit him in the face. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. Now I hope they have some kind of removal. Preferably a Ravenous Chupacabra or a Necrotal, something like that. Because it looks like they're tutoring for a creature. They sacrifice the token. Grismold will get bigger. X is in fact 4. Oh, crossing fingers here. It is Ravenous Chupacabra. Excellent. New addition to our deck too, but it's not coming up. Alright, Grismold is dead. Pays Plunderer will trigger. End of turn. Death Reap will trigger again. And I'll keep repeating this one only because Morbid happens, and it's not always a sure thing. So, no stack effect to ignore, really. But Grismold did get to draw another card. To their turn, actually. 8 cards in hand after the draw. They can easily recast their commander and start making more plant tokens, but let's see what they do with it. Command Tower into play. Soul Ring coming down for Grismold. Grismold the Dread Sower coming back down. Dread Sowing it does do indeed. Ooh, Ratchet Bomb. People tend not to like this card necessarily, but it still kills creature tokens. Like, forever. I love Ratchet Bomb. I have a promo Ratchet Bomb. Skull Clamp to the plant. Plant's going to get the bin kick. There's the triggers. 2 cards, a treasure token. Grismold, he's going to the gym. End of the turn, Death Reap Ritual triggers again. Grismold will be able to draw a card. To the cleanup, Grismold, 8 cards in hand. They'll have to discard 1. What will it be? I imagine probably a land at this point. Yep. Marsh Flats is the land. So there it is. Over to Mazirek, who's beginning to catch up. 5 lands in play now. Forest just came down. Moldervine Reclamation coming down for Mazirek. Whenever a creature you control dies, you gain 1 life and draw a card. I think I tried that in Kolfner at the very beginning and decided not to use it. Just because we don't have that kind of sacrifice thing going on in Kolfner where you need that high number. But that'll work out for Mazirek for sure. We have a Ratchet Bomb. Plants are going to die. No, they will die for me. Altar of Dementia. And then we'll do it one more time to get rid of the other plant token because reasons. We mill a Forest. And a Into the North. Speaking of, this is one of those go get a snow land cards. Probably going to go up in price now. You could also just use Rampant Growth because most of them are basic lands. This will be good for the duels though. Alright, the rest of the plants die. Grismold the Dead Sower going to get super big. Plunderer for the treasure. Moldervine Reclamation coming down for Mazirek. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. That's unfortunate. Let's see if our opponent wants to help us. Hey, they helped us. Thank you, Mazirek player. Thank you. Our turn brings us Reliquary Tower. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and play it. And then let's go ahead and play the Noxious Gearhulk. And we'll kill Grismold because 10 life is pretty good. Piteous Plunder will trigger when Grismold dies. They'll get a treasure token. And there's nowhere we can punch through at the moment. I don't want to punch Mazirek, they helped us. Nethroi might still be useful, and they are higher on the commander life toll to death than we are, so that might also be useful later. Let's just pass it for now. We do have Altar of Dementia up for later. End of turn, Death Reap. It reaps the rituals. Over to Nethroi. 4 cards in hand after the draw. They still have a Quasi-Tutor on the battlefield, so that's not the best, but at least we don't necessarily have to fear it right now. Just thanking our opponent in chat for letting us use Obeka. You can make deals like that, and that's one of the things I love Obeka. It doesn't force anyone to do anything. It's all optional. And I really like that in the card. Oh, we got lots of mana tapping over on Nethroi. Baleful Force. I can't even say it right. Baleful Force, rather. At the beginning of each upkeep, you draw a card and lose 1 life. That'll be really good for him. By the way, as far as elementals go, black ones tend to be more rare. So if you're building elementals, maybe consider this one. Especially if you have, you know, white or green as life gain in the deck. That's it for Nethroi. Going to go over back to Grismold. Baleful Force will trigger, and I'll stop saying that until it's destroyed or removed. But for reference, remember, it's 1 life and 1 card draw for the Nethroi player. Grismold's turn. Snow-covered forest in play, followed by Hunted Troll. That'll give fairy tokens to 1 player, 4 of them, 1/1 blue, if you care for the color. Let's see where they're going. I imagine over to Mazirek. Although it might not be the best idea with the sacrifice outlets they'll eventually have. Oh, going over to Nethroi. Yeah, it's probably the safest bet. No sack outlet over there, plus they're not going to be able to recur the tokens. Blood Artist coming down. Okay. So, let's go ahead and sacrifice the Noxious Gearhulk for now. We'll target ourselves with the mill because we have 2 reanimating creatures on the battlefield. Seems like a good idea. Let's go ahead and get reanimating. We got Massacre Girl. Nice. Otherwise lands in a Chaos Warp. Would have liked the Chaos Warp. We'll have enchantments I want to get rid of. Massacre Worm coming down. So our guys will survive. We do have enough life total over our opponents. We should be good. This might help us take out Nethroi though. Then we can just concentrate on Grismold, but we'll see. Looks like the first triggers are starting to come at us. Let's go ahead and wait. I'll see you on the other side of this. I doubt we'll die, but we will be in a much weakened state. Okay, let's see where all these triggers are going. Us. Okay, so not all at us. Only the Blood Artist ones, because they're the only ones that can really get us with, because these are for the controller of the creature. Alright, let's get it done. Alright, down to our stack. How much are we taking here? 8? Or sorry, I guess 1 already went, so we'll be taking 9 down to 31. That's not too bad. We are down to 31. Nethroi down to 8. Mazirek only down to 39. Good on him. To the second main, Grismold has some other activations. Skull Clamp off into the Hunted Troll. Yep, that'll make it a 9-3. That's pretty good. Does not have Trample, so that's fine. It does have Regeneration, though. Death Reap Ritual. You know what it does. Over to Mazirek's turn. 6 cards in hand after the draw. Nethroi up to 5 cards in hand, by the way. Let's see what Mazirek does with the turn. 6 mana currently. That's a good sizable chunk of mana. Could possibly do a board wipe, although Massacre Worm is out. I wonder if they're like partners in crime or something. I was just reading the chat. Grismold says they have to go. Yep, I guess life happens. I wish it had been before we got drained for the life total, but alright. Nethroi, I imagine, feels kind of cheated. That kind of sucks for them. Well, whatever it is, I hope it wasn't an emergency, and it was important otherwise. Hoping to get another game of Magic in. Let's see what Mazirek does with the turn. Mazirek Crawl Death Breach is coming down for that player. Okay, still have 1 land available. Yeah, there it is, tapping for white. Guess they're just tapping it down, passing it off. Comes our turn, we get High Market. Okay, another Sacrifice Outlet, not terrible. Go ahead, play that. And then I think I want to do probably Feldon into Noxious Gearhulk and kill the Baleful Force, get rid of the card draw for Nethroi, and then play Court of Cunning. That seems pretty good to me, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's do Court of Cunning first so I don't mess it up. Filter for double blue. Court of Cunning, first time I've ever cast this card. Let's see how it does. We get the hat. Then we'll activate Feldon, make a artifact creature token of Noxious Gearhulk, which is a little, redundant, and kill the Baleful Force. Alright, let's go to combat. I'm actually going to swing the Noxious Gearhulk into the Mazirek player, and Obeka off into the Nethroi player. Damage is good all around. Nethroi down to 3, Mazirek down to 34. Let's pass it off. I also want to point out here that if there was some artwork with Feldon, Obeka, and Arumi, kind of like panoramic, I would buy that. They synergize so very well with each other, more or less. Our card draw at the end of turn gives us Luxury Suite. Our token goes away. Mazirek will trigger. Mazirek gets larger, so does the Winding Constrictor. Nethroi's turn. Land into play. Also, forgot to sack the Noxious Gearhulk to Altar of Dementia. Not a card I use very often. Need to get into the flow. Sad Robot coming down for Nethroi. They'll get to get a basic land card. Gem Razor coming down. Mutate, Reach, Trample. Whenever it mutates, let's see what it does. Destroy target artifact or enchantment and opponent's control. Oh, sad face. Actually, I was going to say, I actually hope it's the altar. I wanted to mill stuff. I'm also a bit interested in why Nethroi would destroy the milling one, because Nethroi mutating on top of something would be pretty good, but they also have a bunch of stuff in the graveyard already. So Baleful Force, Eternal Witness, Artisan, is that a 1-2? It's a 1-1, so they could get that back too. Okay, so I guess they don't need it, but still. Over to Mazirek's turn, 6 cards in hand after the draw. Their commander is a little bit bigger, and so is the Winding Constrictor. We might have to Arumi the Noxious Gearhulk back into play and destroy their commander, gain some life. I don't want to lose the Monarch. The extra draw is going to be real good for us right now, considering we're not getting any of the other draw in our deck. Catacomb Sifter. When enters the battlefield, create an Eldrazi Scion. And whenever another creature you control dies, scry 1. The token, in case you don't know, can also be sacrificed for colorless mana, which also means the Mazirek will get bigger and stuff. I'm not going to respond now, because if it does get bigger, we get more life out of it, so that's very nice. Yahenni Undying Partisan. Alright, so Mazirek could kill off the Nethroi player. I don't think they're going to. I think they will be coming at us and we lose the Monarch. That would be sad. Mazirek on the attack off into us. Yep, that's how I figured it'd go down. We can't block it, that's fine. We'll take the 4. We take 4 down to 34, 4 commander damage, although we still have 10 marked from Grismold. It won't track that separately as a number, so just for reference. We lose the hat. And a turn, hat will trigger for the Mazirek player. They get to draw a card. Comes our turn, we get Ormus Archive Keeper. So this is like an anti-mill ourself tech, plus it helps us discard cards into our graveyard to draw 5 new ones. I thought the synergy on this one was really good from Jumpstart, so might be a little hard to get, but last I checked it was less than $1. Luxury Suite into play if you please. I think at this point we take out Nethroi just so they can't mutate a bunch of creatures back to the battlefield and try to stick this out. I don't feel like having to deal with both of them necessarily, even though I really want to get down Ormus. We'll see how that goes. Make a sad robot of Noxious Gearhulk. Let's get that into play. Noxious Gearhulk enters the battlefield. Let's destroy the Mazirek. They sacrifice the token. Bunch of stuff will happen there. So they get to draw a card, scry 1, and Mazirek gets a little bit bigger, which means we get some more life, so that's nice. Mazirek dies, they have a couple more triggers. They get to scry and draw a card and gain 1 life again. Alright, let's go to combat. Swing at the Nethroi player. Let's get him out of the game. Nethroi down, -2. Good game to that opponent. I just didn't want Nethroi to start bringing all that stuff back. To the second main phase, let's go ahead, target ourselves with the mill with the altar, and sacrifice the Noxious Gearhulk. Hey, we'll trigger. We get Evil Twin. That could be good. And a bunch of lands. Evil Twin. What do we want to do with that? Unfortunately, we do not have one more mana to do anything with. Otherwise, I'd probably, at this point, do the Gear Hulk. We can survive one more turn, but it's going to be pretty tight. Let's get down the Magus of the Wheel. That might be able to help us lair, do some self-milling, but probably not really. I do want to get Ormus Archive Keeper down. And we could do Order of Midnight as well and get back the Noxious Gear Hulk to our hand. But it will cost us 6 at that point, so I think we'll get back the Evil Twin, actually. Oh, actually, maybe we can just summon it as the creature. There we go. Maybe they'll forget it can't block. I do that occasionally. We'll see what happens. Let's pass it off for now. Over to Mazirek's turn. 8 cards in hand after the draw. I think they drew 3 cards last turn, or was it 2? Still, they have a lot of options, which is always dangerous. We have a Dark Ritual coming out of the Mazirek player. Alright, well, their commander can easily come back down now. It's Mazirek. Alright, so at least it has Summoning Sickness. That's nice. Jund Panorama into play for the Mazirek player. It gets cracked. Mazirek Crawl Death Priest will trigger. Well, that's not good. They're going to have some really big guys. Mazirek to the attacks. I don't see why not swing with everything. Yep, there it is. Can we take out any of them? We could possibly take out the Catacomb Sifter. Maybe they would sacrifice it to Yahenni. Get a bunch of triggers. I don't know. I do want to keep the Magus of the Wheel in play, though. So I think we're just going to... Probably just going to chump with a Rumi for now, or should we just take the damage? I think we're going to need to chump with a Rumi. So let's go ahead and chump with a Rumi against the Winding Constrictor. We could chump with Obeka. She's not really coming up for anything at the moment. And there's no politics to be played, so let's go ahead and block with Yahenni. Yahenni will get quite large, but we'll only be taking 6 this turn. We'll return Obeka back to the command zone, sure. I went to mill myself. I don't know. The stops on the damage step, I don't know if they're like bugged or something. They often don't stop, so I don't know what that's about. Comes our turn, we get an island. Sure, I'll take it. Probably going to wheel anyway. Let's go ahead and play Ormus. Ormus Archive Keeper. Really looking forward to seeing if this works. I think we're very far behind at this point, but we'll see how things go. Let's go ahead and mill ourselves to 2 at the Order of Midnight. It can't block anyway. We get Echoing Truth and Scavenger Grounds. Echoing Truth could have been useful. Okay, I guess we go ahead and wheel. Things are looking a little bit dire. We have to sacrifice the Magus to do so. Mazirek and Yahenni will trigger again. New hand. Unfortunately, nothing that really helps us out, unfortunately. No lands to play. We do have some spells, nothing new into our graveyard, and nothing to do otherwise. Let's pass the turn. Alright, this turn, it could be game for us right here, or maybe we'll eke out one more turn. Unfortunately, we're just not getting too much. Flare of the Hatebound could be good if we were closer to winning. I just don't know, and we didn't get any of the mass removal, and I did put more in, so that's a little bit upsetting. From Beyond coming down for the Mazirek player. So, let's see, at the beginning of their upkeep, they make a 1/1 color as Eldrazi sign, but they can also sacrifice it for 1 green to search their library for an Eldrazi card revealed and put it into their hand. That's not good. I hope it's not something like Void Winnower. That'd be kind of annoying. Vona's Hunger. Ascend. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you have the city's blessing, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control rounded up. Well, there go both our creatures. That's unfortunate. Okay, Mazirek to combat. Even if we block the largest one, we're still taking, it looks like 50 or 42. So I think this is game. I will let Ormus survive. May he fly off and be ever at peace. Alright, there it is. -34. Oh yeah, the extra 26 from Yahenni. Forgot about that. I'm gonna give it to him. Sometimes all you need to do is be left alone. Alright, we get 1 point. The victor gets 4. Nice. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the deck, go over some changes, and try to figure out why we didn't get as much removal as I thought and hoped we would. Alright, here's the deck. Made a lot of changes. Added some extra card draw, added some more recursion, added some more removal. Just didn't see too much of that going on. Let's take a look. So as far as recursion goes, added Death Denied. I wanted to add the, Agadim Awakening, but still a bit pricey. So I'm not quite into doing that just yet. So Death Denied it is. Also added Order of Midnight because the spell part of it, the adventure part, helps us get a creature from our graveyard back to our hand. So a little bit of recursion there, plus it's a 2/2 flyer at the low ends that can't block. The 2 damage might matter. Plus we can always sacrifice it to other effects, like Victimize, which is a new recursion to the deck. Get a creature into the graveyard for reanimation, get 2 back out. Probably would have been pretty good to get back the Noxious Gearhulk. I really wanted to use Massacre Girl in that game, but none of the creatures were going to be small enough for a very long time, and the Mazirek creatures just got way too big for Massacre Girl to be effective. As for removal, added Mazizian Mortars over Sever the Bloodline. Sever the Bloodline is really good against tokens, but Mazizian Mortars is a bit more one-sided, even though it's generally more expensive up front. So, it's usually a pretty good board wipe, so I decided to add it in. On top of that, for targeted removal, we added Noxious Gearhulk. Saw that in this game. Gives us life, has menace, so some evasion. We can recur it, and it destroys a creature, which is great. Also add Ravenous Chupacabra, because sometimes we just need to get rid of really strong single things like Grismold. So I want to add more removal to the deck that way. Plus, them being creatures means that we can reanimate them, which means they're reusable. Speaking of reusable creatures, though, did add Body Double, so that's going to be a thing. Could have brought that up, Noxious Gearhulk into play, all that stuff. It really helps us double up on effects because it is a clone. And then, speaking of clones and more creatures, Glasspool Mimic is the quasi-other land I added. Comes into play, only copies something we control, but that's fine. We just need it to be cheaper than our other clones, and if we really need the blue mana, that's there for us. Okay, here's the deck. If you saw any cards you want to purchase for yourself in physical form, such as cardboard, sealed proc coming up for Keldheim, or if you want to buy sleeves to protect all that stuff, please consider using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It helps out the channel and doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, so moving on to the next game for Obeka. Hopefully it goes a little bit better. Milling, wheeling, and all that stuff just doesn't seem to be working very well. Although I do want to at least try to get one video in. Maybe we'll get lucky where we punch an Eldrazi trigger in the face. But until then, or at least until the next video, I'll see you around.